Edwards off the running. Like the back down to Edwards. They hand it off to Johnson. Boise State has won. Right now, and they take a downfield shot. And the catch is made. It's Ryan Williams. Goes to the free. Touchdown.
All right, everybody, welcome into another edition of the Gridiron Uncensored podcast. And this one's a special one. We got a special guest, William, coming over from the Walkon Redshirts crew. And clearly you can see we're talking about Clemson. Guys, we're rolling through the ACC teams here doing the previews. Final team, the ACC champions from last year. William, I know you're excited to see that squad and just kind of how they rebounded throughout the season. And getting that win. How did you feel about 2024 and some of the losses that you guys took? And then I guess we'll tell us a little bit about yourself too, because folks that may not know you played at Clemson. You were a walk-on there.
Yeah, I dabbled there. Yeah, thanks for having me. Also, amazing intro. That one got me hyped. We are way too close to college football for me to watch that.
I appreciate it.
I almost dove through my computer screen, so I need to be a little careful. But no, like you said, I'm William Cockrell. Played at Clemson. I actually grew up a South Carolina fan. So it's if you don't know anything about the state of South Carolina, everyone asks you when they meet you, oh, Clemson or South Carolina, or if you move there, oh, you Clemson fan or you South Carolina fan, and you have to make a decision at some point. There is no neutrality. There is no fence riders. You better pick a side. And my whole family was Clemson fans, and I guess I'm a little bit of a hipster. I have to go against the grain.
Sure.
So I was a South Carolina guy for the longest time, and didn't get recruited too much in high school. Liberty up in Virginia was where I thought I was going to go to make this short. And halfway through my senior season, their coaching staff left and went to Richmond. They were going to be Spiders, and they called me up. I think it was in October, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to Richmond. You're no longer part of our plans. See ya." I was like, all right, cool. And then the new coaching staff at Liberty called me and said, "Hey, we knew you were a part of their plans. You're not a part of ours. See ya." I was like, all right, man, cool. Now I don't have anything. So fast forward to the end of the year, Wofford, Newberry, some smaller schools, Coastal Carolina, Furman, some things fell through here and there, and that didn't work out with any of them for some reason. Just like weird reasons, like, hey, my coach would be like, "Hey, they're interested in you. They want to talk to you." I'm like, "All right, tell them to talk to me." And they would never reach out. So it was really weird. Wingate, a little D2 school in North Carolina, offered me, they were going to give me a half academic, half athletic scholarship. And I also played tight end. So, other side, tight end in high school. So I'll tell you more about that in a second. But Wingate offers me a, half and half scholarship, half academic, half athletic. I think within a week they pulled it and gave it to somebody else. So lost another one. And then 3 days later, there's a reason for everything. And, God puts you in situations for a reason. And I was actually skipping school. So he probably didn't have me doing that one. But, and my coach called me. Yeah, my coach called me and said, "Get your tail here right now." And, I think I had like senior dismissal or something. I just was not where I was supposed to be. And came back. And there was a Clemson coach there, Coach Fry, I believe, Dalton Fry. And he offered me a preferred walk-on spot. And I was like, let me think about this. And the next day I called him. I was like, yeah, there's nothing to think about. I can walk on it, wing it. Maybe I'll play. Maybe I won't. Probably more likely I'll play at Wingate, or I can do the same exact thing at a big-time school and be a part of something great. And the rest is history. So
that's awesome.
The switch from tight end to offensive line, I tell everybody I'm a lot better at eating than I am at running. And they found that out the first year I was at Clemson. So they moved me over to offensive line real quick. So
tearing up that cafeteria at the school, man.
That's right. That's right. That's why you had to switch from 82 to 61.
Yeah. Well, I love it. I appreciate, you telling us that. And it's such a cool story. This is the first time we've actually talked, in person. We've known each other, on, Twitter and stuff for the last, 2 years now. Yeah. But it's just cool to, hear it and have you on. We certainly appreciate it. So getting your knowledge of, what it's like to play and the coaching staff, because Dabo's been there for a while now. We all know that. So that's why I'm excited to talk to you about this team. And there's so much hype and potential for 25 and how they're building off what happened in 2024. So when you look at the 24 season and how it ended, it was so close and then it got away so quick at the end. What were your thoughts on 24 and how can that really help with the 25 season, that learning experience as a player?
Yeah. I would say that the Texas game, the playoff game, perfectly encapsulated what 2024 was as a season. We started off strong, which I guess we didn't really start off strong playing against Georgia, but you come
Yeah.
out, start off strong. You score early, and then you just take some punches. Boom, 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 boom.
Mhm.
We struggle against Pitt. We struggle against Louisville. Struggle against Virginia Tech. Struggle against all these teams that we should not be struggling against. And you take the licks, and then you start coming on stronger and stronger and stronger. And then you take one more punch when it's a little too late when you play South Carolina.
Yeah.
In the Texas game, we scored early, took some punches, took some punches, took some punches, came back, started getting some momentum. Boom, took one more punch we couldn't take, ended up losing by 14. So what I want to see 2025 do is be consistent. I want to see them stack days. I don't want to see, an Appalachian State or a Virginia or someone who we drop 40 on and then go the next week and drop a dud and can't move the football and can't figure
Yeah.
ourselves. And it seems like that's what we would do in 2024. And we were just missing that it factor on defense. We didn't have that. What Clemson's been known to do in the Dabo era is they just have the clamps on defense, and you don't have any room for error. So
Mhm.
the offense, makes a mistake here or there, and that in the past it was okay, and the other team couldn't make any errors because if you did against that defense, it was over.
Yeah.
Last year we had some good pieces on defense, but we just couldn't quite step on people's necks, for lack of a better term, and just finish them off.
Sure.
Open, we carry that momentum that we had at the end of the Texas game. And into 2025, obviously with the addition of Tom Allen, Wes Goodwin was there when I was there, and excellent defensive mind, knows X's and O's, knows football. I just couldn't quite cut it, and it was
Yeah.
tough for Dabo. I know it had to have been, but you got to do
Yeah.
what you got to do. And I'm hoping this Tom Allen addition can really fix us where we were the most vulnerable on defense.
Sure. And I mean, Dad was huge on culture,
Mhm.
and keeping and trying to, build through recruiting and not hitting the portal hard and all those other things. But when you look at 20 moving into 25, I always look at returning production, continuity of staff, veteran quarterback, and then how the schedule turns out. So like my four things that I look at on what a championship contender is for whether it's a conference or natty. And when you're looking at this Clemson squad, they hold a lot of that. The continuity, obviously, you talked about Tom Allen coming in. That's a nice changeover. Something had to give just because of, they said, the points given up towards the end of the season, and just some of the lack of, I guess what'd you say earlier? Not continuity, but consistency
Yeah,
going through the year. So we'll see how that plays out. I think it's a good hire. What do you think on Allen coming in? I mean, he
I'm excited.
obviously,
Yeah.
his time at Indiana and him being a head coach. I think it's a good hire.
Yeah, I mean, he's done great in recruiting when he was there in Indiana. I mean, obviously,
Hmm.
Coach Signetti is doing a really good job there. But before Signetti, Tom Allen was bringing in pretty historical Indiana classes in recruiting, so he's able to connect with guys that way.
Yeah.
Um, I went to a practice in the spring, and I don't think I heard anything but Tom Allen screaming in the microphone, "Tackle, tackle, 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 tackle! Do it again! No lows, no low!"
Yeah.
Energy. And again, nothing against Wes Goodwin, but
Sure.
Tom Allen has a different aura about him when it comes to who he is
Hmm.
socially, and has some more charisma. Where Goodwin didn't quite have that. He was more of a brain.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I am excited. He did a good job statistically with the Penn State defense. We just had Landon Tingwall on the show Tuesday, and he kind of blames Tom Allen for the Notre Dame loss. Maybe got a little too cute towards the end. I don't know.
Yeah.
But from what we had to what we have, I'm excited. And he seems like he fits in perfectly. He's already got that kind of Dabo mentality. You know, he's big on the acronyms. He's big on family. He's big on God. Just fits in perfectly with what we're doing over at Clemson. So
yeah,
it's exciting. And we didn't lose any other pieces of the staff because what I was worried about, man, I love Nick Eason. Our defensive line coach is phenomenal. We get Chris Rump at defensive end, and I think he's done a phenomenal job building up a TJ Parker, building up a Cade Denhoff, Jaheim Lawson, convincing a Will Helt out of the Purdue to come.
yeah.
You know, you bring in Ben Boulware, former great linebacker at Clemson, one of the greatest linebackers at Clemson. You get him to come in there, and the energy he brings is bar none. Matching him up with Tom Allen is just phenomenal. And then you have Mike Reed, who's been there since I was there. Associate head coach, defensive backs coach, great recruiter, just a nice guy all around. And then Mickey Kahn, who I didn't know, but these guys have been here for a very, very long time. So it's that familiarity that you get is really nice. So we'll see what happens.
I agree. I love the additions and just bringing the culture all together. Just it fits so well for what this team wants to do in 25. And you mentioned, coming in the portal, and Dabo's really been, I would say, against it, right? It's just been, hey, we're building through recruiting, we're doing this the old fashioned way. But this year, he went, like you mentioned, Helt coming in from Purdue, Tristan Smith, like guys like that, and then Jeremiah Alexander coming in from Alabama. People look at just the rankings and, well, it's 118th portal class, like they're trash. No, it doesn't matter. You're looking for fits. You got to plug holes and culture guys. And I think they killed it when it comes to that. And then you only lose 9 people.
Right.
So,
and Brendan, that's my biggest point with the portal too. Sorry to cut you off.
No.
One of the biggest strengths of Clemson this year is how many seniors they have, how many upperclassmen they have. Well, you know what you can't do if you have a bunch of upperclassmen coming back? You can't get that many people out of the portal unless you're sending people out. And what I tell people is Dabo isn't anti-portal. Dabo is anti-kicking kids off this, like replacing kids, like by sending someone off to replace them with someone else. So if you're going to see Dabo dip into the portal and get more than 3 guys and be a higher ranking team, it would probably be after this year when we lose a Cade Klubnik, Antonio Williams, Ryan Lipton, Walker Parks, Blake Miller, Tristan Lee. Like when you're losing all TJ Parker, Peter Woods, you're losing all this stuff. I mean, I think we have over 50 seniors. So we're not going to replace it all with high school recruiting. I mean, I think we got 20 guys coming in now in the 2026 class. All right, what about the other 39? So I think if you're going to see Dabo dip into the portal and people are going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe he's doing it. No, he's been like this the whole time. And like even the year before when he didn't get any hits, he was still we were still trying to get some offensive line help and just didn't fall through. I know one guy was like, hey, I can't come up, my car broke down, and he just happened to commit to the place where his car broke down. I had another guy who was between us and I think Arkansas, chose to go to Arkansas. So just missed on a couple of guys, but he's not going after quality or quantity. He's going after quality. And if you go and look at the recruiting classes, he does the same thing in high school. There was only 65 guys offered in the 2026 class. Yeah, that is absurd if you look at what other people do. I mean, to put into account, normally like an Ole Miss class is over 200 people that they offer, over 200 people. So if you get a Clemson offer, they want you. It's not a, hey, we'll give offer to these 10 quarterbacks, whoever commits first, we'll take them and the rest of y'all kick rocks. It's, if we're offering you, they got a spot for you.
Right.
So,
yeah, and it works. They've recruited so well. And that's why we're talking about him again. When you talk about returning production for this team, it's at 80%. And that's, Bill Conley stats for anybody listening that, wonder where these numbers come from. And then the S&P plus rating also from him has this as the 8th best team. And obviously those will change, as the season goes in and data comes in from this season. But it just shows that, the recruiting, you have to recruit to build a base. And then after that, you can plug from the portal. And you look at, the last couple of national champions, that's what's happened. Ohio State's done it with NIL. They've been keeping their roster there. And then they plug in with a smaller portal class, but with elite type players. Michigan the year before, they had all these seniors coming back. And that's why when we're talking about this team, you look at what they have coming back and like, this is a national title contender, like straight off the bat. When you look at it, at least that's how I feel. And mentioned Tom Allen. Well, Penn State's the same way. So
Yeah.
taking him from them, in the offseason was I love that move. I thought it was one hilarious because I'm a Michigan fan, but two it's just a great move. That's a power football move off the field.
Right.
So you love to see.
And you know what, Brendan, I'll say this
yeah.
too, like, talking about the rest of the field compared to Clemson and Penn State, if you want to bring Penn State back into this, all the contenders that, that are generally there, your Ohio States, your Alabamas, your Michigans, Notre Dame, who else was in it? Texas, like all these big time programs from last year all have great talent around them. The difference between them and Clemson and Penn State this year is Clemson and Penn State are the only programs bringing back their quarterback.
Yep.
So I think that is going to bode well for them late in the season. I mean, because we think Alabama could be great. What is Ty Simpson? We think Michigan has the talent around Bryce Underwood to be great. Who is Bryce Underwood? Who is his receivers? You talk about Texas. We've seen Arch Manning play against Louisiana Monroe, and we've seen him play against Mississippi State. We have not seen a full game of him playing an actual team. Georgia, Gunnar Stockton. Who is Gunnar Stockton? So Sayin over at Ohio State and Carr over at Notre Dame. Like, who are these guys? We don't know. We have no idea.
I'm with you 100% on that. And, that's why I said when I mentioned those four things, veteran quarterbacks, right? It's crucial. Now, could anything happen with, a young quarterback going out and winning? Yes, it could.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, just having that veteran presence, especially early in the season when you're battling, like Notre Dame has a tough start. How do they navigate that with a young quarterback? So it's interesting to see, and I'm really curious to see how it all plays out. But Clemson, we'll start off with the offense because we're talking about it. Klubnik's back, and he went off last year. It was like, finally, there he is. That's the guy. My partner, Trevor, he could not stand Klubnik for a while. He called him Club Me in the Face. He was like, every time, like, I bet on this guy, and this was a 23 season, because I just get screwed over. But then last year, he was like, you know what? I apologize. I was wrong. He did it. This is Klubnik that I expected. And there he is.
Yeah.
So now he's coming back this year, and everything's there for him.
Right. He had some growing to do for sure. And I think the biggest difference, because he still had some inconsistencies that I'd like for him to grow out of. But the biggest difference between Klubnik in 23 and Klubnik in 24 is 20 pounds. And you weren't taking him down the first time. You look at some of his highlight plays, Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech, North Carolina State, like somebody's touching him, he gets off, then he goes and he runs. And the dude can run. He's fast. So his ability to break tackles set him apart from his 23 to 24 season. Now, and he obviously took a big step forward in the passing game. He doesn't have an excuse this year when you talk about the passing game. You got 6 dudes on the offensive side of the ball that can catch the ball. So I'm very curious to see what he can do this year and how much he improves, because I do expect him to improve.
Yeah, weapons everywhere. You mentioned probably one of the best wide receiver crews in the nation, I would say.
Yeah. I tried to argue with it. I mean, top to bottom, I don't know. You can talk Ohio State. I mean, they have Jeremiah. They have the dude. But like from top to bottom, I don't know if there's another team. I would say Clemson second. I don't know if there's another team that can compete with them in the whiteout room.
It's a nice, like you said, the whole depth of it is just good. Every piece can go out there and do what they need to do. Williams, Wesco Jr., TJ Moore, and then you bring in Tristan Smith too, a guy that can, he can move. That's one of the reasons I play with him on College Football 26. I've been rocking with Clemson, man, because it's a fun offense. But there's so many weapons available, and then you've got an offensive line that comes back with 4 starters, and then depth. There's rotational guys that they're wanting to get into the front group. It's just a nice offensive line, man. There's a lot to like.
There's 99 career starts on that offensive line right now. So everyone in the 2 deep has started at least one game. Yeah, and that's not normal in today's day and age, in the transfer portal age and the NIL age. We don't see guys who have started stick around and back up or stick around. I mean, you talk about a Harris Sewell who's been a career backup essentially. He plugs and starts here and there. He could be playing almost anywhere else. You talk about who's another one? Colin Sadler. is another one. He could be playing somewhere else. Elijah Thurman, if he doesn't end up starting this year, he could be playing somewhere else. I mean, Braden Jacobs, who we get out of high school, who looks like a grown man already, Brandon Jacobs' son, he could probably go and play some other places, but he chooses to stick here. So that's pretty cool. But and to go back to the wide receiver room, Antonio Williams, TJ Moore, and Bryant Westco Jr. could all be number ones somewhere else. And, the biggest jump I think we're going to see, right now they've got Bryant Westco listed at 190. I went to a spring ball practice, like I said earlier. He might be 200 pounds now. I mean, he's put on, he's been in the weight room and he can still run. Yeah. And Brendan, you bring up Tristan Smith and no one really knows about him other than him being the first portal pickup from Dabo. 6'5", 190-pound guy, 200-pound guy. Yeah, can run, but the thing that people don't know about is my freshman year, Dabo would ride Mike Williams every day at practice. Not in a negative way, but it was like just coaching him nonstop, relentlessly coaching him. When I went to the spring practice the other day or the other month, he was doing the same thing to Tristan Smith. What that tells me is he sees a lot of potential and he's trying to pull that dog out of him. And I saw him respond. I mean, if anybody watched the spring game, he was probably the MVP of the spring game. I think he had 2 touchdowns in the spring game and over 100 yards receiving. So I'm really excited to see what he can do. Don't forget about Tyler Brown, who's not mentioned in that big three. He was a starter as a freshman, and our war daddy, our stud, Antonio Williams, is hurt, and we had to rely on Tyler Brown, and he gets hurt last year, so we lose him the whole year. So that's another guy who's been a one in a Power 5 receiving core. So then you have Cole Turner, who Dabo claims is the fastest guy on the team. So he can always take the top off, and he's good for a good catch here and there. So that receiving core is very, very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of weapons out wide. I guess the biggest question on the offense is the running back. I know you've talked about on Twitter, a little while ago. What do you think about the running back situation? I think it's gonna be fine, just because, I mean, look at what else you got around you. It's gonna take pressure off, the backfield. What do you see out of the running back, room?
So I liked what I saw in the Texas game with Adam Randall, former receiver, coming over, bumping over to running back. Another guy could have transferred out, just couldn't quite crack the lineup. Big time recruit coming out of high school in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, built like a tank. Hey, you're 6'2", 230 pounds. Let's bump you in a running back. Let's see what you can do. Yeah. And he had a very good game against Texas. I mean, I think he ran for over 70 yards. He had that one big run in the second half that really sparked the offense coming back to life. What can he do? He can really give the backfield a receiving threat. You put him back there, it's not 5 wide, or it's 5 wide. So I could see Garrett Riley getting pretty creative with him. And then Gideon Davidson, the highly ranked, highly touted freshman coming out of Virginia, is built like a brick house. And he's freaking 18 years old, and he looks like he's been in the college weight room for 3 years already. He's ripped, he's cut up, he needs some band-aids on those muscles because he's all cut up. I have not seen a freshman walk on campus and look the way he looks when he's supposed to be at this freaking prom dance. Yeah. And he looks like he's been there for years. And like you said, he's got weapons around him. He's got veterans around him that can help him ease into it. He doesn't have to come in and be the guy. We have a Jay Haynes who probably could have been pushing to start towards ACL against SMU. I'd be curious to see if we get him back later in the year. And then another spot that I would say we're weak is tight end, but I think it's just unknown. And I think everyone's going to know who Christian Bentoncourt is after this year. He's a redshirt freshman. And I was talking with somebody, one of the staff members at Clemson at that same practice, and he pointed him out and said, somebody that nobody's talking about that everybody needs to talk about is this cat. He's first one on the field, last one to leave, always in the film room, always working out, always working on his body, always watching film. He works harder than almost anybody on the team, and he's a redshirt freshman at tight end. Tight end is one of the hardest positions to adapt to at the college level, and then obviously in the NFL level too. I think he's going to take a junior spot. I think he's going to take old Pat Henry's spot and start this year and just be a dude.
And that's huge. I mean, you mentioned all the receivers. So, I mean, that's going to take so much, of the eyes of the defensive coordinator. and now you have a good threat at tight end or an unknown, they might leave him be. And there you go. That takes a little while to figure it out. And then what do? You got all these guys that can, burn you outside. So that's just another reason why this offense is going to be so dangerous. And, you look at last year, there's the 11th offense in the country. And I mean, they're going to be right in that same area, if not, better, depending, on how things play out.
And my one hesitation, is I want to see them do that against LSU. I want to see them do that against South Carolina. I want to see them do that again, be the 11th best offense in those games. I mean,
that's
you
fair.
have to show up in these big time games, and they ended up doing a little too late against Texas. But in that Georgia game, they just let that game get out of hand. I mean, the defense held Georgia in check for the first half. It was 6-0 going into halftime.
Yeah,
and then offense just could not do anything in the second half. Kept shooting themselves in the foot. We'd get a drive going, then we get a penalty. I mean, and it was just bonehead mistakes. And then you go to South Carolina, and it's just untimely, costly turnovers. So, can the offense be the 11th best offense week in, week out? I think they can, and I think this is when it all gels together. But that would be my one hesitation: is can it be consistent? And I think the consistency was lost last year. I mean, people might not be aware, but Phil Maffa was playing hurt the majority of the year last year. I think it was around the Virginia or Wake Forest game. He got hurt, tore his shoulder up pretty bad, and the rest of the year he was a shell of himself. And
it's hard.
And when you can if a team is really good at passing the ball, you can kind of help out that a little bit with the running game. But like when you struggle a bit in the passing game and you can't get that running game going, man, it makes everything worse. You lose your play action game, you lose your screen game. I mean, you lose a lot of different things that you need. The running game is vital to any good passing attack.
Absolutely. And, we'll see how it plays out this season. But like what I see, let's hit the defensive side. Because obviously I think everybody knows, all right, the offense is going to be good. A couple of questions I would mention, but this defense has the potential to really take a jump, from last season. Last season, I rated at the 69th total, defense. We're talking about the defensive coordinator coming in. But what about, the defensive line, I feel like is stacked, even though they had a couple losses in the portal, Trey Williams and Hoffler moving on. But I think this is going to be a really tough defensive front. And then the back end's it's loaded with talent, man. There's talent everywhere.
And a guy like Trey Williams, and a guy like Trey Williams, like he wants to go be the dude. It's his last year. I get it, man. AJ Hoffler was unexpected. I think he was going to have a chance to really take a step forward this year and decided to go elsewhere. But insert Will Helt, who I think is the guy that people are going to be talking about the most this year. Like I said, he's coming out of Purdue, 5 sacks last year, 10 tackles for loss, but he was the war daddy on a weak Purdue team that you probably didn't have to pass the ball very long because you're smoking them. But the dude can play. If you cut on his tape, he's 6'6", 265 pounds, and he's all 265 pounds, all muscle. Just looks great. And the difference between last year and this year, so TJ Parker, with really not having a counterpart last year, it was kind of like a rotating door of who was going to play defensive end that week. You had K. Denhoff, Jaheim Lawson. You had other guys coming in that happened to play the other side. Peter Woods was even playing some defensive end last year. So you really didn't have consistency on the other side of TJ Parker. And TJ Parker still had 20 tackles for loss and 11 sacks. So you got those two guys. Now that you were able to build that depth from other guys getting to play, and Jaheim Lawson and K. Denhoff getting to play a lot more. Now, hey, they're going to be serviceable backups. Then you want to talk about the interior. DeMonte Capehart and Peter Woods. Peter Woods is who everybody wants to talk about, right? He's a stud. Rightfully so. He deserves it. DeMonte Capehart, when he's healthy, is a space eater, not space heater, and a line mover. He is someone who displaces the line of scrimmage and makes it very, very difficult to run an offense. Who are you going to double team? Okay. All right. Now they get tired. So you rotate the guys in who've played. The defensive tackles, you have Stephylon Green, who was really getting a lot of playing time late. He was a 4-star guy at the end of last year. Amari Adams, another true freshman, similar to Gideon Davidson. It's like, why do you look the way you look? You should be at prom. You should not be dominating other grown men. You've got those two. And I really think Vic Burley, former 5-star, if he's healthy, I think he can really push to get some good playing time. So I'm very excited about that front four. Very, very excited.
And, we talk about all the time. You get cornerbacks and all these things out of the portal when you do some of these, previews like we've been doing. So much attention on from some of these teams on corners and just trying to get pieces back there. But when you can get somebody on the defensive front and just make sure that front line is able to rotate, like you mentioned with the depth, you bring in help to rotate and be fresh all the time. It's going to work wonders for the season and getting into that last quarter of the year. And then the back end, the linebacker core is good. I like the pieces there. And then I mentioned Alexander coming in from Alabama, to help out there. And then, the cornerbacks and the safeties, I just feel like there's so much talent that it's going to be hard to move on this team. I mean, what do you think about the back end? Are you worried about any spot on this defense, at all?
Yeah, if I'm worried anywhere, it's at safety.
Yeah.
Who do we have at safety? I mean, Khalil Barnes is going to play, and he's going to be a stud. I mean, love Khalil Barnes. I think he's a phenomenal football player. But it's the other side. Who's going to play the other safety position? Is it going to be Ricardo Jones, who's a freaking stud, and I think he's going to be a great safety when all is said and done? Is it going to be Colin Griffin? Is it going to be Ronan Halfman, who came in as a wide receiver and they bumped him out to safety? So they've got options. You have all these options. Who's going to step up and take it?
Right.
And I'm excited. I mean, there's two things that can happen in these situations. You can not have anybody, or you can have iron sharpens iron. These guys are competing, and you don't end up being the weak point because you've been working so hard all summer. So very curious to see who wins the safety battle. Cornerback Avion Terrell.
Yep.
Nothing to say about him. He's phenomenal. He's going to do a great job. Younger brother of AJ Terrell for the Atlanta Hawks or Falcons, not basketball. And just a great studly cornerback. He's not afraid to stick his face in the fan and make a tackle behind the line of scrimmage.
Absolutely.
Great man-to-man corner. Just makes really good play. He can be handsy at times. Maybe he gets a couple PIs here and there, but I live with that. How aggressive.
I'm about that too. Michigan, obviously Michigan corners, they play that hard, and Will Johnson was like that too. He gets some penalties, but I mean, it's part of the game. You got to stay on him. So no, I mean, Terrell is great. I think this team is just so loaded. I'm ready to talk schedule if you are, and see what this, if the fourth tenet, I guess, of what I usually throw out, if it holds true. And you start off, you got LSU. That's going to be a tough one. A lot of people are buying into this LSU squad, saying, they're playoff contenders for sure. But it seems like every year with them, they start off. The Florida State game was a couple years ago. They were like, oh, they're going to run Florida State out of the building, and then, well, they got whoops. So I'm curious what you think about that game, and then Georgia Tech and Syracuse soon after that front little segment. How do you feel about the LSU battle first week?
We're going to find out who our cornerbacks are. Aaron Anderson, Barian Brown. They've got some speed out wide at LSU. Garrett Nussmeier knows how to sling it. He's an accurate quarterback, really good quarterback. I think with the replacement set, the offensive line, that LSU is going to struggle against our defensive line. They're replacing 4 out of 5 starters. You talk about Clemson having 99 career starts at the offensive line position right now. I think LSU brought back 16 career starts. Majority of them came back from the guy who's returned. You lose a top 5 pick and Will Campbell, and that's hard to replace. Yes, they went and got guys out of the portal, but they've never played with each other.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see if that continuity is what it's all cut out to be. I think Clemson needs to put pressure on. I mean, it's hard to throw deep. You got these speed guys. It's hard to throw deep if you don't have time. And if this defensive line can get home on Garrett Nussmeier and rattle them, it's a game at home. First time for beer sales at Death Valley. So might be a little more rowdy than usual. So I'd
bet on
it. Yeah. Bet the over, and I'm feeling very confident in that game. I want to see what LSU's defense does.
Yeah.
They've got all the talent in the world, but they just haven't been quite able to put it together completely on that side of the ball. Can they do it this year? It's going to be tough. I mean, it's a playoff game week 1.
It is.
It's a playoff game week 1, so we're going to find out a lot about both teams very early. You don't have time to just ease into it. We don't dip our toes in the water over at Clemson. We jump in head first. Dabo loves to start off the season with a big time game.
Yeah, I love the energy of doing that. And like you said, it's really the battle up front. And when you have that continuity on the O-line, that beats out, in my opinion, like you mentioned, trying to piece everybody together again through fall camp. And then you play that first game. Usually, if it's a soft game up front, you can, piece these guys together, take another week and try to figure it out. But here you better be friggin' ready to go. And I think Clemson's going to get them there. Then we mentioned Georgia Tech. That's a team a lot of us are liking, on the podcast side of, Twitter. Georgia Tech, they've got a lot to like going for them. Haynes King coming back. Syracuse is kind of a team that's retooling here. I think, we talked about them. Their schedule is so tough, man.
It is.
Like,
I would say if Syracuse is going to ruin some people's seasons this year.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're going to be a much better team than people think. I'm forgetting Angeli. Steve Angeli, the quarterback coming over, is a very talented guy. You go back to the Georgia game where Notre Dame's playing Georgia, and Riley Leonard goes out, and Steve Angeli comes in and moves the ball down the field, and really kind of wakes up that Notre Dame, that Irish offense. So Angeli is able and very capable.
Absolutely.
And I'm forgetting the offensive coordinator for Syracuse, but obviously he was able to unlock a lot out of Kyle McCord. So we'll see what happens. He had a Honda McCord. What's he going to do with it? I can't make a car.
I can't think of a quick one for Angeli, but
Ferrari and Ferrari. I don't know. It's Angeli. What's he going to do?
Yeah.
Keys? Yeah.
What's he going to do with it? And it's a great question. But like you get them right after a tough Georgia Tech team. That could be a letdown game depending on how that game goes. So you cannot sleep on them. And
Georgia Tech is going to be tough. It's at Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Like you said, Haynes King's there. Rutherford 10, Eric Rutherford's there.
They've done a great job this offseason.
Singleton just left. Who's the receiver that came in from FIU?
Oh my gosh. I had to go back to my notes on them. But it's a good team.
Jamal Haynes, they're stacked on the offensive side of the ball, but they're actually very, very solid defensively. So that's going to be a tough one. It's at Georgia Tech as well. So can't sleep on them.
I think it's Eric Rivers.
Eric Rivers. Yes, Eric Rivers. Thank you.
Yeah. I had flipped. I've got so many notes on this name book. I'm like, we're running through these previews like crazy, man. So then you get a bye week after Syracuse. You move on to the North Carolina situation. That's, all the off-season noise and whatever else has been going on there. I mean, listen, they got a team they're going to field. I don't know how it's going to go for them. We'll see. But I think you guys should outpower them. Boston College is a one that I think is going to be a tough game. Just a tough team in general, the way they're coached and whatever. But you guys should have the talent to just, again, outpower them. And then that SMU game. Any concerns about that middle segment on the schedule?
So after we get past SMU, which SMU is going to be a very, very difficult team. They get Kevin Jennings back. I love Rhett Lashley as a coach. They're replacing that defensive line. So if SMU is going to take a step back, it's going to be because of that defensive line replacement. I mean, they were a top 10 team in rush stopping last year, so very, very good up front. So I'll be curious to see what they do on that side of the football. Yeah. But then we have our revenge tour. We got to play Duke. Last time we played Duke, they embarrassed us. Ruined my life. Terrible Labor Day. Florida State. Yes, we beat Florida State last time we played them, but we need to get revenge in Death Valley. They ruined our home winning streak. We got to go. We got to go. Keep them up a little bit. Louisville last year was probably one of the most angry I've ever been watching a football game in my entire life, and it's on a Friday. Last time Clemson played on a Friday was against Syracuse. We ended up losing. Trevor Lawrence got concussed, and they didn't have anybody to come in, so we ended up losing that game. Nope, no, that wasn't the Trevor Lawrence game. That was Kelly Bryant. So that was 2017. That was Kelly Bryant's full year of starting, and they didn't have anybody behind him. Furman, don't have to get revenge against Furman, but then we go to South Carolina, to Columbia.
And there's revenge there.
Got to get revenge at their house.
Yeah. I like the way it's set up in kind of these little blocks, but it's tough too. They pop up on you. I think Duke's going to be a strong team. I talked about them. Mensa coming in is huge. Florida State, we don't really know. You know, it's you got to see what Castellanos is going to do.
Well, Castellanos knows.
He knows. I mean,
he runs the ACC, right? I mean, come on.
He's talking it already, man. He's calling out Bama. You never call out Bama. Like, I don't care how, you know, good or bad, whatever you think they are. You don't do that. But he did. So, I mean, we'll see how that pays off. But
all
yeah,
you need to do is give Bama and Clemson more bulletin board material, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. So when you look at this schedule, the over-under's at 9.5. And, you know, I got a couple Florida State fans, you might know them, you know, saying that, you know, Clemson's only going to get 8 wins this season.
Okay, buddy.
I don't see it at all. You know, I'm going, this is a playoff team. This is a team that should contend for Natty. I'm taking the over. I'm sure you are too.
Yeah,
you know, it's playoffs or bust, Natty or bust type feel on this team.
And sorry again, but the way I look at it is, I mean, realistically, they shouldn't lose more than 2 games. I mean, when I put my Clemson hat on, they're going undefeated.
Yeah,
every year I expect them to go undefeated, right? But this team actually can go undefeated. And then you look at, all right, what games are losable? First and last one, you know, who's South Carolina going to be? Who's LSU going to be? Who's SMU going to be? Georgia Tech, like you said.
Yeah.
Duke. Who's Duke? Is Mensa going to be that dude, or is he going to struggle because you have Duke weapons?
Yeah.
Louisville. I think I have Louisville as my dark horse in the ACC.
It's a feisty looking team.
I had them finish second in the ACC, and I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit because I think it might be a little too rich. But you know what? I might just stick with it. They're replacing their whole defensive backfield, so if those guys can play, I think Louisville's going to be freaking good again. Georgia Tech, I have them in the top 4 in the ACC.
Yeah,
I mean, this schedule is not easy. I mean, it's not an SEC schedule by any means. But it's not an easy schedule. I mean,
yeah.
You got booking SEC teams, and then you got a bunch of contenders.
Yeah. It's you know, when you look at it, it's tough. It's manageable. You should be able to run through it. But he said these teams can sneak up on you if you're not ready. And you know, coming out of the bye week, you know, the second one you got, like you said, Duke, and then before that, you know, I don't know anything about North Carolina and if they're actually going to be able to manage it with all the craziness going on. So I mean, we covered them, but you know, I just. We'll see what happens with that squad.
Jordan will lead them to the promised land.
Yeah,
and
for
also,
sure.
You can't sleep on Troy. Troy's not a pushover G5 school or G6.
No, they're not.
We call them now. So, I mean, and Furman's feisty. I mean, they'll stick around with you. I don't know if you've heard, but their saying is "F you till you're purple" because they're Furman University night. And they weigh purple.
So no Furman pretty decently. But yeah, I'm excited for this team for Clemson and what they bring to the table. You guys listening, let us know what you think. I'm sure most Clemson fans are probably in the same realm of, hey, it's Natty or bust. But if you're a fan just scouting or whatever, you know, from another team that I've seen a couple of those in our comments on YouTube, let us know what you think. Or we way out of the realm here with this Clemson squad.
Yeah,
I don't think so. And I think I've already bet that I'm going to eat a lemon. You know, on that one. So if they go 8 wins or less, like somebody mentioned, so I feel pretty good on that bet. But we'll see.
You better eat the lemon if they do. Do not do like the Florida State guy and not eat the poop.
I ate it last year. Yeah. Well, that's why they're still cursed, and he hasn't eaten it yet.
Yeah,
so,
and he's still eating the poop.
I mean, what's that say about Florida State this year? They're probably done for. But no, I always Malice follows through on his bets. So we'll see what happens, guys. Any closing remarks, Will? Again, thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate you. It means a lot to have you on.
Yeah, and I appreciate you having me. I'll say one thing. You know, the biggest thing with the team, they're going to Cade Klubnik's the straw that stirs the drink. The one thing I want to leave everybody with, a little tidbit of information. There's been 8 quarterbacks, I believe, in the past 20 years who have posted over 4,000 total yards and 30 plus touchdowns and 10 or less interceptions. And 7 of them were either Heisman winners or Heisman runner-ups. The other one that was Cade Klubnik. He was the only one that was not invited to New York. So the dude can do it. Yeah. He's got all the hype this year. Block out the noise. Let's rock and roll. I'll see y'all in the national championship.
Love it. All right, guys, we appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe and also go follow our friends, the Walkon Redshirts. You can find them Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff. Hit them up too. Great folks over there. We appreciate
Walk on
you
Moose
guys.
specifically. Come walk on Moose.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see you guys around. Take care.